Rich Bluni is one of Studer Group's most sought-after keynote speakers. A registered nurse for 20 years, he is also the best-selling author of Inspired Nurse and Inspired Journal, and co-author of the Nurse Leader Handbook. Please welcome Rich Bluni.
All right. So I got 10 minutes to talk to you, but that's okay. I have ADHD and I've had 3 cups of coffee. We're going to be fine. The people that we meet in healthcare change our lives. We have so many encouraging and amazing, inspiring stories. I was thinking about a young man I took care of. He was a young father, had a serious motorcycle injury, was paralyzed partially from the waist down. His recovery was very difficult. I would visit him a lot during his rehab, and the guy amazed me. He was never negative, never gave up, thought, always positive, you know. And I noticed when I would sit there with him, he would always be staring at this wall across the room, and on the wall was a picture of him and his wife and his 2 little boys on bicycles. And he would always be squinting and grimacing at as he was going through this very painful stuff. And so one time, I was having a hard time seeing it. I went over and I grabbed the picture to bring it closer to put it on his bedstand. And he said, no. He said, leave it there. I said, why? He said, because, Rich, it's far away. And that's where I got to go. But right now I'm here. And this is tough. And I'm sweating every day and I'm hurting every day. But Rich, I know that I got to get comfortable with being this uncomfortable. Because to get to that, I got to go through this. That amazed me, and that message has followed me everywhere I've gone. Being comfortable with being uncomfortable. I think basically when you think about you can't get to that until you go through this, I think it comes down to a couple of areas. It comes down to the things that make people the most uncomfortable, which is trust, communication, and self-assessment. These are the areas that I've learned as a coach and as a speaker when I've dealt with people strikes fear into their hearts. These are the things that people are the most uncomfortable with. So I want to get right into it. First of all, get comfortable with trust. We are terrible at letting go of things in healthcare. When you walk through a hospital or a healthcare organization, you're much more likely to hear somebody saying, don't worry, I'll take care of that, before you'll hear somebody say, hey, can you help me out with this? We're terrified to give up stuff because you've been burned by one person who you trusted to help you, and from that day on you've said, nope, you want it done right, I'm going to do it myself. And that's fine, but that's also going to lead you to getting burnt out. So here's something that I would challenge you to do, you bunch of control freaks. I want you to think about a project or something that you do. It could be you're in charge of the Heart Walk, or it could be a finance project, it could be anything. If you're in a position of authority, I'd like you to trust somebody enough to give a little bit of it to them so they can prove their worth. If you're not, then reach out to a peer, colleague, or coworker and say, I need help with this. I've bit off more than I can chew. Would you take a little bit of this off my hands? That ability to delegate is the first way that you can start to get a little bit more comfortable with trusting. The other area up there is leading problem solvers, not problem bringers. You know when somebody comes up to you and says, somebody needs to fix this. When's anybody going to take care of this problem? Many of you will say, don't worry, I got it. I'll take care of it. But I want to give you some different keywords. When somebody comes up to you and says, somebody needs to take care of this, I want you to look them right in the eye and say, what do you think we should do about it? As a matter of fact, just practice that. I'm going to say somebody needs to take care of this. I want you to say back to me, what do you think you should do about it? Ready? Somebody needs to take care of this. That was very uncomfortable for you, I understand. Listen, we too often carry people. I have a 2-year-old, and he's been walking since he was 10 months old, and I love to carry him. I love to hold him. But at some point, I had to trust. I had to put him down. I had to hold his hand. I had to let go once in a while. And as he started taking those few steps, he got stronger and more able. I had to trust in his ability to trust his balance and to know his feet and to feel confident with himself. Hemingway has a great quote about trust. He said, the best way to find out if you can trust somebody is to trust them. Let go a little bit. Try some trust. It's going to be uncomfortable. But to get to that, you got to go through this. The other area is communication. What's the number one cause of sentinel events? Communication. What's the number one cause in the United States of divorce? Communication. It used to be money, but we're all broke now, so. Here's 3 quick areas to get a little comfortable with being uncomfortable. Number 1, gratitude. We're very uncomfortable with gratitude. We are. You can try this experiment. Go out to your garbage man the next couple of days and say, hey, could you please not put the garbage pail in the middle of the driveway? Yeah, okay, no big deal. Wouldn't shock him. Then pick another day and go out to your garbage man and hug him, give him a cup of hot cocoa and say, thank you so much for what you do. He will be calling the police. I want you to do something very simple. These are very simple. And this is the problem with what I'm talking to you about. They're simple to do, and they're simple not to do. It's just what you want to get out of them. 6 thank you notes, 3 personal, 3 professional. Send them out this week. That's all. 3 personal, 3 professional. Get comfortable with being a little uncomfortable with gratitude. The next thing is to seek reconciliation. Right now, I want you to do something. If you've got a pen in your hand, write down the name of somebody who you're presently in conflict with. Somebody you don't get along with. Somebody that you don't like working with that much, unless they're sitting next to you, because that would be way uncomfortable. But just write their name down. I challenge you to do this. And then I want you to commit within the next couple of weeks, have a sit down with them with a minimum goal that you'll reach common ground. Agree to disagree. A maximum goal that you will move forward fully reconciled and ready to work together on things. If you find that you hold grudges, remember this. Holding a grudge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Buddy Hackett used to say, don't hold a grudge against a guy. While you're holding a grudge, he's out dancing. The next thing is ask your team for honest evaluation of your ability to communicate. And you could try this stuff at home too. Seriously, 1-question survey. Give it out anonymously to your team. 1 question. On a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate my ability to communicate? If you give me a 3 or less, could you please give me one thing that I could do a little bit better? You'll be amazed at what you learn from that information. And it will be uncomfortable. But to get to that, you got to go through this. Last is something that I think could change your life. You know, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? When the evil queen asked that question, she had an answer in mind, didn't she? She didn't get the answer she wanted, and she was a little upset with the mirror. If your idea of self-assessment is to justify what you already believe is correct, that's called delusion. It's a waste of time. I want to share something with you in the next 2 minutes that I give you my word. This changed my life 5 years ago. I have not been the same, and I think I've gotten better. It's called a 90 and 90, and it breaks your life down because what I'm sharing with you about being comfortable with uncomfortable is life skills and work skills. They go together. Your physical, your emotional, mental, or spiritual, and your work health. 90 and 90. Here's what it looks like. Starting today, I want you to make one decision, just one simple thing, that positively impacts your physical health. So, for example, have a glass of water instead of a Coke, or eat a carrot stick instead of a Snicker bar. Or if you're staying on a relatively decent floor, take the stairs instead of the elevator. One thing. And then tomorrow, do one thing. And then for the next 90 days, just make one decision every day for the next 90 days to do one thing that positively impacts your health. You'll be healthier at the end of the 90 days. Then for your emotional, mental, spiritual health, find a book, like one of the self-help type books or a spiritual book, something that you can connect to. Maybe it's 300 pages long. And I want you to commit to read 3.3 pages a day for 90 days. At the end of 90 days, you will know something that you didn't know at the beginning. Or maybe commit that you're going to pray or meditate for 5 or 10 minutes every day for the next 90 days. Your work life, your whole work-life balance, if you will. Do you stare into the eyes of your BlackBerry more than somebody you love? Does the sound of your loved one's voice arouse you to jump out of your seat, or that zzz, zzz? Which one? Relax. I want you to think of one thing that you could change that would positively impact your work-life balance. Maybe it's committing to shut off your phone from 6 to 9 p.m. Maybe it's that you're going to sit on the floor and play with your kids for 1 hour straight, or roll the ball for your dog, or talk to your mom on the phone, because you never call your mom. You need to call her. Whatever that is, at the end of that 90 days, if you committed to doing this, miraculously, you will have achieved a little more balance. Look, 90 days are going to go by whether you do this stuff or not. It just depends on if you want to make them count. It might make you a little uncomfortable to self-assess. But to get to that, you got to go through this. This week, 21 years ago, my father passed away. It's the anniversary of his death, actually. And my dad was my hero. He was just a great person. And when I was in nursing school, I was helping take care of him, and it was going bad, and I told him I was going to take a leave of absence for a couple of semesters just to help him out. And I said, Dad, what do you think of that? My dad was a gentle, soft-spoken guy from Brooklyn, Sicilian guy, very gentle, very sweet. And when I said, Dad, I'm going to take a leave of absence from school to help you out, what do you think? He looked at me in his gentle way and he said, I think you're a moron, that's what I think. But then he said, kid, life's going to be tough sometimes. People are going to get sick. Things are going to go wrong. You won't always have the option to take a leave of absence. He said, sometimes you just got to tough it out. You got to be a little uncomfortable. But I promise you one thing, kid. You'll come out on the other side a little stronger than you started. Healthcare has its uncomfortable moments, whether it's getting people to do stuff and they just don't want to do it, or somebody's got spinach in their teeth or toilet paper on their shoe and you just don't know what to do, or you got safety issues, or you're the last person to hold somebody's hand when they leave this world. It's going to have its uncomfortable moments. But the truly successful people never look back on their life and be amazed at how easy and comfortable everything was. They usually look back and say, that was tough. But they wear each scar and each bruise and each scratch like a badge of honor. And they're proud. It didn't kill them. It made them stronger. I guess what my dad was trying to tell me 21 years ago was to get to that, kids, sometimes you got to go through this. You can do this. Thank you. I appreciate you very much.